Are we all fitting, or we could actually move to? I'm so sorry. You know what? I actually think that there's value in us moving.
I think it's okay.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sorry about that. We're supposed to have done it better. You know, Ngululeko, this is unacceptable. This can actually cost a person a job. That's how serious it is.
Lucy?
I'm very sorry about that. Lucy? And please bear with me. All right, thank you very much. Good morning. Lucy, what is the problem?
Lucy, oh, this
smartphone is in it.
So you're emailed for the Minister of...
Thank you very much. Good morning, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate all of you for coming in your very... Sorry. I want to appreciate you for your coming to this very important press briefing. I must say that we are going to be introducing a new wave of press briefings on a regular basis to inform you on the direction we are taking, on where we are, our perspective, our take on issues, particularly in the context of the coming election on the 30th of July. I must start by congratulating all of you for what I perceive to be very good and effective coverage. You have done very well. We appreciate it. We have seen you cover most of our meetings, at least those who have been with us on the campaign trail. We appreciate you and want to thank you. But more importantly, we want to congratulate the people of Zimbabwe for peace. Zimbabweans have tried and they continue to try, as they have always been peaceful people and a loving people. We want to appreciate that. I've gone across the length of this country. It's clear that people are determined, people are waiting for change. The end is nigh. I can tell you that the writing is on the wall for my colleague who is currently occupying the office. There's no doubt that we are winning this election. In fact, we have won this election. The mood in the country is massive. The momentum is unstoppable, and people are connecting to our message. People are connecting to our narrative in governance. I have seen that even people like the Vice President of Zanu-PF, General Chwenga, retired, is now even joined on realizing that it's possible to deliver spaghetti rolls. Initially was saying that it's not possible, but I see that now is one of my spokespersons in the message and one of the key believers. I like it when your opponent becomes your disciple. So I want to also congratulate General Chwenga for not being resistant to the message which is compelling, the overwhelming message we have sent across. Ladies and gentlemen, let me turn to the issue of elections and where we are, particularly in the context of what we have received as statements and circumstances from the corridors of ZEC. I've read, I've listened to what was said by my learned judge, Chigumba, on where we are in terms of the development within ZEC. I respectfully disagree with some of the things that she's saying. She's obviously not correct on points of law. She's obviously not correct on points of the administrative requirements that are imposed on the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. In fact, I must hasten to say to all the commissioners, and in particular to the chairperson of the commission, Justice Chigumba, remember to respect your oath to the people of Zimbabwe, your oath to the country of Zimbabwe, and your oath, more importantly, to the law. Because she took an oath, and the meaning of an oath is that she's supposed to respect that oath to the letter and spirit. And of course, she knows what I mean by saying, honor your oath, respect your oath. We have disagreed with ZEC on a number of issues. As you are aware, we had a press conference and highlighted the issues that we are not in agreement with, particularly issues around the ballot paper and the issue of the voters' form. Now, what has become so clear and so apparent is the fact that by ZEC's own admission, they have said that the ZEC server was cloned. They don't know who cloned it. But what is clear is that they've admitted, from what Chigumba said, from her own mouth, in her own words, the ZEC server was cloned. And that's the explanation for the numbers that have been dished out and for the numbers that have been sent out. But what is clear is that if the ZEC website or server has been cloned, all the other political parties are complaining except Zanu-PF. Yet Zanu-PF again is the culprit that has been found with those numbers being sent to individuals coming from ZEC. There is a clear violation and breach by Zanu-PF, by ZEC, in terms of confidentiality and privacy of voter information. We can no longer, therefore, under those circumstances, trust ZEC that there's not going to be any further cloning or any further interfere with the server of ZEC. And that is a problem. And we want it to be taken seriously. It actually states the reason why we have said that we are losing confidence in ZEC, in its capacity to be an honest umpire and an objective, independent referee. Number two, again by ZEC chairperson's admission, she has admitted that they did not feel that the postal ballot was done in a manner that does not go beyond what is expected in terms of the law. In fact, she admitted that there is evidence of electoral malpractice, especially if one has regard to the fact that our officers were asked to vote in the presence of their seniors. That vote was not secret. We have this information. Officers are phoning us. They are complaining. We have raised these issues, and this has continued. So we would want this ballot to be made invalid, nullified, so that it is done according to the law, in full secrecy, respecting our police officers, and also not forcing police officers to be on a postal ballot when they have not applied for it. We know that they are doing it, and we want this to be sorted out. So it's clear that the postal ballot was not done according to the law, and is therefore compromised and has to be invalidated. And we are taking steps in terms of the law. We are also taking steps in terms of our administrative arrangements to make sure that this issue is dealt with. The third issue is the issue on the ballot printing. It is very clear that the ballot printing was not done in accordance with the law. In terms of the law, the Electoral Act, Section 57, it's very clear that it has to be done, particularly the layout of the ballot paper itself has to be done according to the alphabetical order. And if you have regard to what is called the V10, it's clear that that was not followed. I don't know what Commissioner Chikumba's defense is in a clear and flagrant violation of that provision of law, where Mr. Mnangagwa is now finding himself being the first on the alphabet by virtue of what they are calling another caller, when in fact it's supposed to be done in an alphabetical order, and Mr. Mnangagwa is supposed to be another number, which is not where he is right now. So reading of the ballot is not just a political problem, it's also a legal problem, which we obviously are also going to take up and complain about. We've also discovered that there has been massive intimidation in the countryside, you know, especially in the context of Zanu-PF panicking. It's clear that we have the majority of support in the rural areas. We have done a fantastic job in Matebeleland, in Mashonaland, in Maswingo, in Manikaland. I can assure you that the support we now have in those areas is massive. This is why, a case in point, just last night, you know, people in Buhera under Zanu-PF MP Chikomba, the people were being told that if you vote for MDC, you are going to see what happened in 2008. And we are getting these, manifest and ubiquitous, ever-present circumstances of intimidation across the whole country. And we're extremely worried, particularly in the Gokwe areas, where people are being congregated, frog marched into meetings, almost having meetings, Pungwe meetings, and we have evidence. We are compiling that evidence. We are going to give it to our observers, but we are also going to take up the matter with ZEC. We are also going to take up the matter with Zanu-PF. This information is clearly indicating the violation of the Electoral Act Section 133, which speaks to issues of intimidation. It's very clear that they're intimidating the supporters and villagers. We also note circumstances of vote buying, especially the distribution of maize seed and fertilizer in June, which is so unprecedented in July. Why? Because Zanu-PF has now resorted to very desperate measures to try and prop up their fortunes, which are not redeemable, even if they continue and try to do that. Section 136 of the Electoral Act is very clear on circumstances of what is defined as bribery. It is bribery to try and give somebody something, hoping that they would then be confused in terms of their voting. In fact, if I may just read, bribery speaks to doing anything or indirect that gives, lends, procures, or offers a promise to procure or endeavor to procure any man for any person on behalf of a voter, like what we are seeing. Yes, it's good to distribute farm inputs, but let us do them outside the realm of elections. We have 2 weeks before an election, and we have Zanu-PF beginning to do what they are doing. It's an extreme issue that we would want to be dealt with. Now, what is the way forward under these circumstances? I've already told the nation that we are taking seriously issues that we have not agreed upon with ZEC. We had raised 10 issues, which were our demands for a free and fair election. We scaled down to say we now have 2 minimum flashpoints or red lines, which is the issue of the ballot paper and the issue of the voters' roll. These are so crucial, these are so important that we can't even negotiate anything. Yes, Chigumbo was saying, as far as they are concerned, it's water under the bridge. Now, there's neither water nor any bridge, as far as we are concerned. She is mistaken if she thinks that this issue is going to be a sleeping dog. In fact, these dogs are going to bark. Not only bark, they are going to bite very soon. Because we want a free and fair election, we will not take anything lying. We will not accept a ballot paper that is not to our satisfaction. If we are to agree to having an election, we must have it under circumstances where the ballot paper is agreed upon, printed according to the law. Now, she has continued this very banal and nebulous foggy line that candidates is not covered by the law and stuff like that. You go to the Constitution of Zimbabwe, Section 155, subsection 2C. It's very clear to say, it shall be the role of the state and the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to take all appropriate measures, including legislative measures, and to ensure that certain of the principles set out in subsection 1 are actually adhered to. Now, those speak to issues of security, verifiability, accuracy, simplicity, and accountability and transparency of the voter information and voters' roll. Now, C, it must be the role of ZEC to ensure that all political parties and candidates, and I'm a candidate, a presidential candidate, one of the 23, contesting in an election or participating in a referendum, have reasonable access, reasonable, underline the word reasonable, access to all material, and I'm sure ballot papers are material. Sensitive materials like ink are all part of the material, and information necessary for them to participate effectively. Now, if I don't have access to processes on the ballot paper printing, I've been denied my constitutional right. And I'm saying that on the basis of this, it must actually be availed to me when I say I want to see the ballot paper, when I say I want to have access to where the ballot paper is. Its security, its storage, its distribution, they are all issues that are covered in terms of the law, and that must be respected. So, yes, we have hit a stalemate. I've already sent a signal to SADC, I've sent a signal to the AU. I'm now taking 3 steps that are supposed to resolve these issues. The first one, in the interest of dialogue, I've sent and dispatched the team to request an extraordinary meeting, which I have always requested and it has not been acceded to, with the ZEC chairperson as a candidate, on behalf of the alliance, on behalf of the candidates who have also registered as parliamentary candidates, 210, as council candidates, over 1,900. Those I represent in terms of requiring certain information on the voting process. So yes, this has been done. If then Chikumba fails to accept for us to meet, we are requesting an urgent meeting with all the commissioners so that we articulate our issues and also agree on a way forward. If this fails, we are also pushing for all the parties, and we've already requested to have a meeting of all parties, all candidates that are willing to be part of this journey, to also come together in terms of dealing with the issues that are supposed to be dealt with in the context of the multi-party liaison platform in terms of section 160, I think it's 160D of the Electoral Act. We are also escalating this matter to SADC. In fact, we are writing to SADC to request an extraordinary summit of SADC to then deal with this stalemate and this dispute. Because for as far as we are concerned, this is a dispute. We have a dispute, we have a stalemate, we have a crisis. We cannot possibly have an election if we do not know where the ballot paper is, who has printed the ballot paper, the quality of the ballot paper. In fact, as I have already indicated in other spheres and spaces, I have no evidence that the ballot paper was printed in Zimbabwe. I wish I had any, but I have no evidence that the ballot paper was actually printed in Zimbabwe. And that makes it a very serious issue. So our leaders are going to be engaging on this three-tier approach to deal with these issues. We are also already mobilizing people and engaging them. We will meet all structures, we will meet the church, civic organizations, the trade unions, war veterans across the whole country to hear what they say about the way forward in terms of dealing with this issue. We also are going to engage Zanu-PF, because if they are genuine, they are also an equal player. They must have the same concerns, because I'm sure they've not seen the ballot. Unless if they are being represented by ZEC, then perhaps they don't need to complain the way we are complaining. So these are the issues, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready and willing to take any clarifications. But the good news is that we are ready for the big mantle. We are ready for victory. There is no way it is going to defeat us in this election. There is no way Zanu-PF is going to win this election. In fact, it's no longer about parties anymore in the countryside. People are clear that this is no longer about the MDC or Zanu-PF. It's now about Zimbabwe. And when we vote for Zimbabwe, we vote for a fresh start, we vote for new policies, we vote for a new face. And I'm sure I represent that new face in adequacy and in a convincing dose of clarity. Thank you very much. Any questions on the issues that I've raised?
How long have you given this process to take? It's 2 weeks away from an election. 24 hours, is it 3 weeks? What if nobody moves?
Precisely. Well, we are utilizing this whole week for that process, hoping that there's going to be an understanding, particularly on the issue of the ballot paper. If this issue has not been resolved, I say it, we will not boycott an election because we are the election. We will not boycott the election because we are the winners. Winners don't quit, winners don't boycott. It is Zanu-PF that might boycott an election, but not us, because we are the winners. What we are going to do is that we are going to use our constitutional rights to make sure that any process that is perforated, any process that is negated in terms of the law, in terms of the constitution, does not then take place and does not then kick in. We have the power to do that, and we will do it. Yes?
Okay. On some of the processes that you are mentioning, don't you think that the horse is already bolted out of the stable, and now probably it's time for the opposition to concentrate on educating the voters on probably the voter, on the ballot paper, where are you found, and some of the processes when they go to cast their ballot?
We know what we are talking about. The horse is not bolted. We want an authentic ballot. You know, let me just hasten to say this to Zimbabweans and those who care to listen. You may want to rush to go to an election before we have dealt with the issue of the ballot. It will not be an election. It will be something else, not an election. We don't want to go into a fiction or a movie, a predetermined movie, disguised as an election. It's a betrayal of those who have died for one man, one vote in the liberation struggle and also post-liberation. So we will not be stampeded into an election which is not an election. We will not be frog-marched into going into some kind of a farce or a sham of an election. We want a proper election. You know? Of course, you would want us to say, no, we are educated. We don't want to educate our people on fiction and deception. There's no reason for us to do that. We'll be cheating our own people whom we lead. This is not a Chamisa Chigumba issue. This is not an MDC Alliance ZEC issue. It's a people issue. A people versus ZEC issue. So forget about it. We will not be hurried into anything. They may think that they can rush into having 30 July. 30 July is just an event, a day. This process is about the people of Zimbabwe, the young people of Zimbabwe, who want to have an election that will produce a legitimate outcome, an acceptable outcome, a credible outcome.
Thank you. Let's say by the end of the week that you have given, the architecture for what you call a farce continues to exist and ZEC has not moved any inch. What happens now?
We'll then untangle and disentangle the farce.
How? Would you want to elaborate on that?
We'll reverse the frontiers of the farce.
How?
You see it.
Your supporters might want to understand
They
exactly.
understand we're engaging them. They know. They are very clear about where we are going. I tell you, this is across the political divide, including those in Zanu-PF. They also want a free and fair election. It's a national call. It's not a partisan call. So don't worry. You will see when we engage the people and when you say, this is the direction we are taking, once we have finished the consultation. So the how part is going to be answered. The proof of the eating is in the pudding. Don't rush into everything. You must chew one thing at a time. Don't bite too much. Yeah. At the moment, the focus is on making sure that we pursue dialogue. But if the dialogue route is blocked, we have no other options except to then unleash our instruments of peace. Our instruments of peace. Thank you.
I understand ZEC is on record saying that the ballot papers are in a bunker below Fidelity printers somewhere. And they're also on record saying political parties were there and they were given the ballot papers like a wand to see if the eggs would move or whatever. So by evidence of if they were printed in Zimbabwe, what really kind of evidence do you want? Do you want to be taken to the bunker or what?
My dear, I hate to say that a judge of the High Court is missing the truth. I think she's being missed by it. But I can tell you that we are the political players. We did not see any ballot. We were not shown any ballot. We were not part of any ballot that was shown to us. This whole thing about a bunker you are talking about, we don't know whether it is a military bunker or a civilian bunker. And we are not interested in that. What we want to know is to know the security of our ballot, the one that we are going to use. That has not been availed, and that we are insisting needs to be availed to us. So it doesn't matter if Chigumba chooses to shout on top of her voice or arrogantly say that there has to be an earthquake, it's water under the bridge, whatever she says. The bottom line is that it takes two to tango. Unfortunately, she wants to tango alone, and we will not allow her to tango alone. Yes, Peter?
Are you suggesting that if you don't make progress on these issues with ZEC, you would find a way of halting or delaying or stopping the elections? Is that what you're saying?
Of course.
What mechanism or law would you use to do that?
We'll show you everything will be done according to the law. And we have everything done according to the law. Just wait for the moment. It will come.
But as far as I could read in the law, the
Sure.
only way of delaying election is if one of the presidential candidates was to die.
No, we are not going to kill any of the presidential candidates. We are not going to kill any, but I can assure you that we don't seek to delay the election. We are simply saying that there will be no election on the 30th of July without a proper ballot. And I can see your anxiety around the how. I have already answered that one. Yes.
Some Zimbabweans are saying that they are concerned with your comments and sentiments over the past few weeks, and there seem to be threats of violence. Can you clarify on what really do you need to do as MDC? Are you going to be violent to make sure that the elections are maybe set aside?
I don't understand which comments in particular. I'm a very thorough politician.
The issue of untangling and the threats that something is.
So when you untangle a fuss, does it mean that you are being violent?
So that's the clarity I think even my colleagues were asking as well. What is it that you want to do? Because your sentiments seem to point to the issue
I'm
of
sure
violence.
you know that is what is called strategy and tactic. If I come here and I start giving people about my next course of action, what am I doing? And that's what you want me to do. It doesn't work that way. I can't go and whisper in the ear of my competitor or opposition what my next strategy is. It ceases to be a strategy. I've always said transparency does not mean nakedness. And please don't ask me to be naked. Yes.
Yes, just last week I was talking about jumping the indelible ink in favor of some what you call their ink things. I don't know. Yes, the players, are you aware of such things?
We are not aware. One of the biggest challenges we have had with the Chigumba, unlike during Makarau's time, is that Chigumba is very arrogant. Chigumba seems to think that she is the author of law and the alpha and omega of wisdom and knowledge of what has to be done. She's not. She must listen, and she must know that she's being paid by the taxpayers, myself included, yourself included, all of us included. She must do things in a manner that satisfies the minimum demands, not to come and to be arrogant. Arrogance usually walks hand in hand with ignorance. And we don't want it to be one of those unfortunate circumstances in the history of our country. I'm about to conclude now. 3 more. 1, 2, 3. I've seen some. You want to have a second bite?
Yes.
Yeah, but let us have others. The last one in the back. In that order, sir.
Okay.
Oh, but you already asked. Yes.
Thank you. I wanted clarification on some threats from one Mr. BT when he alluded to the fact that you would mobilize to disrupt elections in all 10,000 voting centers. That is if your demands are not met. Is that not a threat of violence?
Mr. BT is a dove. He has never been violent in his life. And we are a team of peace-loving people. You know, we are not newcomers to this struggle. We have been in this struggle for 18 years. We have been provoked, we have been harassed, persecuted, but we have never resorted to violence. Not because we do not have the capacity. We have so much capacity, but we don't want to because we don't believe in violence. We believe in peace. You know that those who control the instruments of violence are in the state. And you know that our biggest problem in this country has not been just violence from civilians, but violence from the state. You are aware of that. So Mr. BT was simply saying that we will demonstrate within the confines of the law. He's a lawyer, a peace-loving lawyer for that matter. We have our own platforms and we're going to utilize them for purposes of making sure that there is a peace and amity, harmony in this country. Why would you want to destroy the country we are supposed to be leading? We are the next government. In 2 weeks' time, we will be the next government. That I can assure you. We will be the next government. So we have more responsibility than Mr. Mnangagwa. That's why Mr. Mnangagwa is so reckless. Because he's the leader of the opposition. He doesn't care about this country. We care about this country because we are the incoming government. Yeah. He's so careless and reckless because he's the outgoing government. That's the difference. So we know the burden of caution is higher on our shoulders than on that other side. Because they are on the leeward side.
Okay. High level people like Kofi Annan, Salif Johnson are going to be coming to maybe shepherd this election. Your feeling is they step in Zimbabwe?
Yes, I'm meeting with former Secretary General Annan on Friday. We are going to raise these issues. Hopefully, we'll still be able to raise them, because if there is no understanding on the part of ZEC, we should be focusing on SADC really coming in to adjudicate on this matter, and that's what we are pushing for. We have a disagreement with ZEC, we have a disagreement with Zanu-PF, we have a disagreement with E.D. Mnangagwa on the election. This is a disputed process. Now, when you dispute in a process, why should you even go to an election where the process is disputed? You are simply wasting people's time. And our people are listening. Our people know. People will never be demobilized. Don't even worry about that. They are very clear. They are raring to go. The momentum is huge. And we are going to defeat Zanu-PF. Mr. Chiwenga knows that. Mr. Mnangagwa knows that. Of course, I've been having problems of late to say, who am I really running against? You know, between Chiwenga and Mnangagwa. But I will defeat them both. In fact, it's very merrier in that fashion. So don't worry about the imminent personalities. They are coming. We will obviously engage them on the issues going forward. But we will not be frog marched into a fuss. That's what they did to my predecessor. Once bitten, twice shy. I will not repeat the mistakes of yesterday. We are in a hurry to resolve our problems, but we are not in a hurry to get any power, because for us the objective is not power. The objective is not just to be in government. The objective is to bring real change to the people of Zimbabwe. And we are that change. We are that people Zimbabweans have been waiting for, and we are ready to deliver it. Last, at the back, very back, the one I had already identified.
Okay, I wanted to
Oh,
say,
it's Jeff?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I wanted to say, as we go into elections, of course, you've mentioned the challenges or the grievances you have with the ZP. What are then the problems within the room, within the FDC alliance? Any grievances within the room?
Well, look, we are now talking politics. I don't know if there are people with grievances. That's another thing. They know the platforms to follow. I'm their leader, so if there's any grievance, they must come to the leader, and I provide leadership. Then we'll move.
Are you stronger or weaker as you go into elections?
My brother, just wait for the election. We've grown stronger. In fact, the MDC is now bigger and stronger than it has ever been. You know, in 1999, we're not this powerful. You know, we are back in the fold with all our cylinders firing. We are a juggernaut. An unstoppable juggernaut. Zanu-PF is our meal for this election, I can assure you. Okay, Peter, the very last one. You know, I respect female journalists, and for that reason, that's my honor.
So old.
Thank you very much.
I wondered if you had seen the alleged Baba Zhukwa last night, claiming that perhaps Judge Chigumba was doing what she does at ZEC because she's having an affair with the cabinet minister. I wondered if you saw that tweet last night.
Well, I think those are personal matters. But certainly what is causing people to begin to be anxious about certain things is the conduct of certain of the ZEC commissioners. You know, the omissions and commissions are likely to be fertile ground for conjecture, guesswork, and conspiracy. Because people don't understand why certain things are being done. Their hatred of accountability is baffling. Their penchant for opaqueness is legendary and encyclopedic. I don't understand why they are so determined to run away from the people, to run away from the truth, to run away from the dictates of honesty. It's so shocking. Very, very shocking. So those issues obviously are likely to come up. I don't encourage them, but they are likely to come up because everyone is seeing the obvious evidence of manipulation and corruption of the electoral system. Just look at the postal ballots and how they were done. Scandalous. Look at how the numbers of people have been dished out to Zanu-PF. per ward. Scandalous. Econet can't be culpable. It is Z. Because Econet does not know a word. It's only Z that would know. So you can see that there is twin, working together between Zanu-PF and ZEC. And it's not even everyone in Zanu. It's a few people. The rest are saints. They are just being courted into a particular line. They also want change. They are sick and tired. Well, they are not part of the feeding trough. Thank you. God bless you.
For these and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.